Hey, so I hope you've enjoyed your first lesson into taking a real look into the brain and just getting a bit of an understanding about what the brain is about and how it works and all that kind of stuff. So, obviously, we're still kind of at a very, you could say, a superficial level at the moment, but a really important one and really important for us to start getting the understanding of what's really going on in the brain. See, when I moved from kind of a more popular psychology approach for around coaching and started to move into a more brain science, neuroscience based approach. This stuff was kind of mind blowing to me that you, you know, kind of this first transition, this whole idea about working with the brain in mind rather than just working with the mind in mind, right? It opened so many doors for me. As soon as I could see that really the brain is a pattern recognition machine, like when you boil everything else down and you just put your focus on the brain is ultimately looking for patterns, and those patterns can be about, they could be localized patterns to, the way your room is laid out, to more global patterns like the clothing that people wear, or the kind of the way traffic normally fluctuates on your journey into work, or whatever it happens to be. The brain is always looking for patterns, and it's trying to say, does that pattern match up to what my expectation was for what I should be seeing here? Really, really simple. I mean, it's such a simple idea when you really think about it. And yet, I hadn't been working with my clients around that pattern recognition concept, or necessarily seen how important patterns were. And obviously, we're always, as coaches, we're always working in the areas of pattern recognition. We just don't necessarily call it that. But what is a habit? A habit is a pattern. It's a way of doing something that the brain actually says, okay, I find myself in this environment, and now that I'm in this environment, I should behave in this way, and this environment triggers these behaviors, and so on and so forth. Right. So this finding, this understanding, this real simplification of neuroscience, if you will. I'm sure many neuroscientists will kind of, they'll be horrified by some of the things that I teach you during the MindMAP program. Not because it's wrong, but because they'll say that so much is being left out. But that's by design, and that's specific. But what I found was understanding, or bringing neuroscience down to this really simple truth that the brain is a pattern recognition machine, has made the most massive and spectacular difference in my work as a coach, in the received and perceived value of the way that I'm coaching other people, and in how other people are having conversations with people in their families and in their environments, right? So pattern recognition, keep coming back to this. Like, I invite you to keep looking. If you forget everything else when you're in a coaching environment, ask yourself, what is the pattern that's at play at the moment? And remember, the patterns are really being designed, are really all about creating predictions, because that's what the brain is. It's a prediction and response machine, okay, or a prediction and reaction machine, right? So looking at it from this perspective, and we haven't really gone deep into it just yet, but let's just kind of touch on this. We see a pattern. Based upon that pattern, we predict that, for example, we are safe. Remember, the brain's primary reason for existence is safety first, right? It's to be able to survive the environment. So it's looking at the patterns and saying, am I safe? If it suddenly sees fire, or smells gas, or kind of sees a big tidal wave coming in or something like that, it's saying, wow, this isn't the pattern that I would normally expect to be seeing while I'm sitting here in this office in my garden. That doesn't seem right. And it would then say, what is the appropriate response? Or if it's a high level of threat, what is the appropriate reaction to what I'm seeing? Okay, and then based upon those responses, based upon those reactions, we then are going to create the movements and the actions to get us out of the threat, or help us take up that opportunity. Well, again, really, really simple, and it's so bloody obvious when I say it like this in a kind of a more conversational way. But again, to be honest, my brain as a coach hadn't been educated in spotting these patterns and spotting these responses and all this kind of stuff. I was more taught to essentially ask a person where they wanted to get to, and then kind of G them up and, air quotes, motivate them into taking action. And what this says to me, and hopefully what this is saying to you, is that the brain doesn't work that way. The brain isn't just about, hey, if you want something, go and do it. The brain is about, and if you want to work with the brain, it's all about helping the brain to create new patterns, to create new predictions, to create new responses. So the terminology that we'll be using over and over and over again in MindMAP, and the terminology that you'll find yourself discussing with clients, is going to be one of prediction and response. It's going to be one of threat, prediction, response. Threat, prediction, response. Where is the threat? In other words, the threat is always the thing that is a form of prediction that says something bad is about to happen here, right? So there's that form of threat, and then there's the prediction, and then there's a response. What is going to happen? What do I need to do? So you could summarize this whole thing is, what am I seeing or what am I experiencing via my sensory system? So what am I seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching? What is the emotional vibe that I'm picking up, right? What am I sensing? What pattern does that correlate with? And what do I need to do about it? Okay, so it may seem overly simplistic at the moment. As we move through the program, you're going to find more and more and more tools in order from which to kind of pick up those patterns, in order to identify things in the environment that are acting as a threat and so on. But just for now, kind of this date with Dax, so to speak, is just an acknowledgement and a reminder that kind of, if this is new to you, and if kind of this first delving into what's happening inside the head and how the brain works is kind of, whether it be a big light bulb or whether it in itself become a little bit of a threat for you because you go, wow, that wasn't how I was taught. Just be aware that that was my experience too, and it's been the experience of every coach that I've worked with. Part light bulb and part, oh my God, does that mean that everything I've been doing up to now has been wrong? And so here's my answer to that. What you've been doing up to now has been absolutely perfect for who you were on your journey at that moment in time. Okay, what you're being invited to observe now is that actually maybe there are some better, some deeper, more profound explanations for why you're seeing the things you're seeing and experiencing the things you're experiencing, both as an individual in your life and through your coaching lenses when you're looking to the lives of your clients. Okay, so that was it. Just a little bit of a mad rambling. I hope kind of I've put your mind at ease just a little bit, that if this is new to you, don't worry. But I'm hoping that it's kind of tripping some alarm bells, and it's having you at least sow those first seeds of doubt about maybe the way you've been coaching up to this point. And a little known secret about coaching is this, that all coaching really starts from doubt. It doesn't really start from certainty the way most people have been taught. Okay, really starts from doubt, because if you doubt the method that you're currently using, you fully engage in the exploration of a new method. If you believe that the way you've been doing up to now has been perfect, then there's no reason to learn anything new, right? It's just, again, pattern recognition. It's creating predictions. It's creating responses. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this first lesson. Please go back over it a few times and look at it from a, kind of try and get each stage down, like kind of, reminding yourself, okay, the brain is about pattern recognition. What does it do with those patterns? It creates predictions. What does it do with those predictions? It creates responses. What does it do with the responses? It creates movements and actions, and so on and so forth. Get all of this kind of fundamental, both terminology but kind of the pathways down, because it's going to become really important, not just to the coming lessons, but to how you operate as a coach too. Okay, take care.